particularly maybe a few years ago, that was drawing people. Even though people would work in Salt Lake City, they found it more affordable to live in Utah County and then commute in. I have a number of friends I know who moved to that county years ago. And now they're probably like, why is everybody else figuring out that this little hidden gem is here? But in a few minutes, right after the break, we'll take live calls. What drew you to Utah County? And the phone number is 801 575 TALK, 801 575 TALK. But with this growth comes, I think, lots of cool things, like they're going to be redoing Provo Town Center. We've talked about that this morning on Utah's Morning News with Andy and Amanda. They were reporting on that. But then there's the challenges. One that comes to mind is traffic.
Traffic is a huge problem, and it has been for a while. What's so difficult is when you have this kind of explosive growth, you have to have the infrastructure. But who could have envisioned this 20 years ago? My wife and I almost bought our first house out in Eagle Mountain. This was going to happen. We ultimately decided no, but it was so rural. It was so remote. We felt like we were in the middle of nowhere. Well, right now, it is home to home, just packed. Mm-hmm. And the traffic and the infrastructure, it couldn't keep up with how much and how quickly it grew. And that, I think, is one of the biggest problems, because now you got to go in there and change and expand roads, and it is a huge burden. But what do you do? Like, do you overbuild all of these roads in the first place with the hope they're going to grow?
Amelia Powers Gardner, Utah County Commissioner, waiting live on the line for us to bring you into the conversation. Thanks so much for waking up with us this morning, Amelia.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be with you guys.
Yeah, thank you. So let's start with the softball question. Why do you think there's such a draw to Utah County for people to move there?
Well, I mean, this is my favorite topic, right? I am an 8th generation Utah County girl. My family has been here 178 years. And we've stayed here because it truly is the best place in the world to live, work, play, and raise a family. So the rest of the world has just finally figured that out. Growing up, I grew up here, loved Utah County. I left to go to school at Weber State University up in Weber County. Then I left the state for 10 years. I lived in Illinois, North Carolina, and Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I left my corporate career to come back here to Utah County when my oldest turned 5, because I recognized that this is where I wanted to raise my family. The rest of the world has just finally figured that out.
When you look at the growth, and I know there were plans in place, building infrastructure, but I don't think anyone could have envisioned this level of growth so quickly. Typically we'll look at a 20 or even 30-year plan, but that, it seems like, got blown up in a matter of years, not decades.
Yeah, well, and when they plan roads, when UDOT plans a road, they plan for 10 or 20 years worth of growth. Part of the problem is, by the time they had built Pioneer Crossing, that 10 to 20-year plan was already here in a matter of 5 years. So like you say, they thought they had planned for the future, but the growth has just been so much higher than that. But there's a couple of other things that have complicated this with the way we do traffic funding and roads funding in Utah. One is UDOT often figures roads, like they pick which road to do next based off of the current traffic. They evaluate a road and they go out and look at the traffic currently on that road. They're not looking at all of the homes currently being built and all of the encumbered lots that will be built in the next 5 years. So that's part of the problem, is that when they compare current traffic in Utah County to current traffic in Davis County, they say, oh, we could do this Davis County road, not recognizing that we're growing at significantly a higher rate. The second issue that we have is when the legislature and when UDOT doles out funding, they do it by region, and each region gets a turn. This is a conversation I have had with legislators and UDOT many times when they say, well, Utah County had its turn. In 2011, you guys got I-15 doubled in size. And I have to remind them that we are 40% of the state's growth. It's always our turn.
Wow. And do they listen? I see construction
Well,
projects when I go down to Saratoga Springs to do my Zumba class on Saturday mornings, Amelia.
yeah, and they have started listening. When I first became a county commissioner in 2021, 40% of the state's red roads, meaning red meaning traffic problems, 40% of the state's red roads were in our county, but the funding for those roads was not planned until 2031. But last December, if you remember, we got a pledge from the legislature and UDOT for $1.4 billion for that northwest corridor of Utah County. Those were roads that we knew needed to be done. The funding wasn't planned until 2031, and we were able to bump that funding up 5-6 years because they did listen. But we can't take our foot off the gas pedal here. That funding, that $1.4 billion, will merely catch us up. It will not get us ahead. We're going to have to continue to recognize that when we are 40% of the state's growth, when we are literally growing faster than every other Wasatch County combined, we need to say, yeah, that'll get us to where we should have been 3 years ago. But if you look at the south part of Utah County, which you guys haven't even mentioned yet,
Yeah.
you look at Spanish Fork, Salem, Payson, Santaquin, it today is where that Lehigh to Eagle Mountain corridor was 20 years ago. So we're going to need to be ahead of that growth.
We appreciate you taking the time to join us, Amelia Powers Gardner, as the Utah County Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that perspective. So let's take your live calls. We're already getting calls. If you've moved to Utah County, tell me, what was the draw? What took you there? 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. I see the calls lining up. So, Andrew, you're first in line. Hold the line. We're back in 90 seconds.
Summer is right around the corner.
It's time to spring into summer with Soda Weight Loss.
Today is a new day.
And a big day for you.
Why?
Because right now, you'll get our biggest discount of the year.
Do you know how good it feels to let go of 51 pounds of belly fat? And I did it without drugs, shots, or hunger. Because Soda Weight Loss works. Just look at all the Google reviews and all the thousands of before and after pictures.
Soda Weight Loss has one goal, and that's to help you let go of the weight for good.
So I lost 25 pounds. I was never hungry. It was very, very easy. I couldn't believe how fast the weight came off.
Now is the time to join America's #1 weight loss company for client satisfaction and results.
Hurry! Savings won't last long.
Let's go!
Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America. We have a multi-vehicle crash southbound I-15 just before the 400 North exit in Springville. It is blocking 3 right lanes and both shoulders in this area. Traffic at a standstill, quickly backing up toward University Avenue in Provo. You're going to have to move to the left and consider taking an alternate route. Wasatch Front businesses and property managers, GoPave Utah provides all asphalt repairs for your parking. For patching and paving along the Wasatch Front, contact GoPave Utah, gopavutah.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See for full details and disclaimer.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We just got off the phone with Utah County Commissioner Amelia Powers Gardner discussing the massive growth in Utah County. Got the story at kslnewsradio.com, and we're talking about it right now. because Utah County has just seen a huge population growth. I mean, it's no secret if you drive through it, but when you start seeing these numbers in black and white, they've got like 43% of the share of population growth, and there's really no other county that comes close.
Quite frankly, because they have the space. They have the area. And so often when we talk about growth in Utah County, we're thinking of Lehigh, Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain. But Commissioner Gardner just reminded us, like, don't forget what's happening in Payson, Salem, Mapleton, Spanish Fork. These are exploding as well.
Yeah.
And we're in kind of the same infrastructure problem that we were right now.
She felt that those areas that you just mentioned were at a spot right now where the point of the mountain, cities like Lehigh and maybe even Vineyard were 20 years ago. So I'm sure more growth is coming. But I'm curious, what draws residents to Utah County? So if you've moved there, I want to know why. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Let's start with Andrew. Hey, Andrew, thanks for holding the line for us. I really want to hear your take.
So I'm an interesting story. I lived in Lehigh at a very young age and then moved to the east side. And I'm currently 23 and commute to Salt Lake City every day. But what's the most interesting part of it is, like, even in the high school aspect of it, I mean, they built Skyridge, Lone Peak, and Lehigh, and all of them are within, like, capacity of their students that they had to move 8th graders to 9th grade at the new high school just to accommodate for the growth. And that was a big impact on my life because it was just, there was so many people. And I just remember my graduating class was one of the largest in Lehigh, with over like 900 students, which was crazy.
Yeah, that's huge.
Right?
So, Andrew, remind me, where do you live now and you commute to Salt Lake City for work?
Yeah, so I attend University of Utah, and so I commute from Lehigh to work at the hospital and attend campus.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, thanks for the call and your perspective. Hi, Heather. You live in Pleasant Grove. What drew you to PG?
Well, I was born and raised in Alpine. I ended up wanting to raise a family the way that I was raised in a small town. We stayed in Pleasant Grove, but my husband and my son are both UPS drivers. And my husband was offered a route down south, Spanish Fork, Salem area, and was told that he would only work maybe 3 days a week because there wasn't enough growth. Within 5 years, he is now 5 days a week, and they had to bring in 2 more drivers.
Wow.
Just to fill the capacity down south.
Well, that's called job security, right?
Oh, that's why my son is a UPS driver.
Exactly. Oh, awesome perspective, Heather. Thanks so much.
Travis in Ogden. Travis, okay, so you're up north. Let's hear it.
Yeah, up north. My dad's actually from Mapleton. My mother grew up in Emery County, so we were through that area all the time. And so just to see the little growth and no longer just visiting the Acorn at the mouth of Spanish Fork Canyon and even the closure of Thistle Lake and having to go over through Duchesne in 1983 and get around all that, and to now just see the growth and the actual interstates. I think Charles Kuralt said it the best, where he said, in the nation, it's now possible to go coast to coast without seeing a thing. So all the highways look the same, but I'm thinking impact fees are not just impact fees for the local neighborhood. They need to be assessed for everything that they tie to. And so I think when we're thinking, we buy all this farmers' land for almost free and we just build the houses and the contractors and developers just build the subdivisions and run away. But then in reality, they've done the impact fees for sewer and water and all those other things, but then they don't assess impact fees for roadways. So if I'm going to tie a new interchange and a new intersection into I-15, then those subdivisions that feed into that, such as in Davis County, that's exploded in growth, that you just see this. There's not the impact fees aren't far-reaching enough. I think
I get
so. That's the part.
Yeah.
Take your own share of it.
Yeah. The Commissioner Gardner did address the UDOT component of this and the road component of this, and the need there in Utah County.
Well, and how they had to move up deadlines. There were money over $1 billion that was planned for 2031 had to be moved up 5 or 6 years to get it done right now because the need is so extreme.
Hi, Jill. You live in Springville. What drew you there?
Yeah, I moved to Springville from Las Vegas. I just wanted a smaller town and cheaper cost of living. I bought my home in the height of COVID, and lower crime.
And did you get everything you'd hoped for?
Got everything I wanted, and I enjoy the small, slow town pace of life and great people that I live around.
We'll see how long that lasts, right? I mean, a lot of these small towns, especially in Utah County, started off small, and then in the last 5-10 years, it has exploded and turned very much into a not a small town anymore.
Well, a belated welcome to Utah, Jill. Thanks for the call and thanks for listening. Hi, Roger. You live in Mapleton.
I do.
Why'd you pick Mapleton?
Well, I lived in Provo for a number of years, and then I moved to Mapleton as I retired. But before that, I lived in Los Angeles, and I lived in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. Quiet towns. You come from quiet towns, Roger.
Quiet towns. So my children went to high school in Chicago, and then my youngest children went to high school in Provo. And we found a significant difference in the quality of life and moving there. We considered moving to Salt Lake County when we moved out here, but we felt like Salt Lake County was much more like Cook County, Chicago. Huh. So we moved to Provo. It's a wonderful environment for raising families. It's a wonderful environment politically, and it's a great place to live.
Roger, thank you. I don't think our commissioner, our Utah County Commissioner, Amelia Powers Gardner, is like relieved to hear all these glowing endorsements, because it's just going to bring more and more growth into Utah County, which is already bursting at the seams, it seems. So thank you so much for calling, folks.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
This is Jeff Stout with Fink & McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple. News of recent layoffs reminded me of a quote from Bob Hope. A bank is a place that will lend you money if you can prove you don't need it. A periodic check of finances can prevent big problems later on. How much debt do you have? What are the payments? Do you have a rainy day fund? What would happen if you lost your job or had other unforeseen financial issues? Mortgage interest rates have been coming down, and there may be a window of opportunity to look at your situation in terms of a possible refinance and restructuring of debt. If you'd like to go over your situation, give us a call or take advantage of our quick application at 4minutemortgage.com. It might help. There's one way to find out. Give us a call. Fink & McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple, 801-264-9494. That's 264-9494. or on the web at finkmcgregor.com. NMLS 289115.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See with the full details and disclaimer.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. A West Valley City woman is being accused of extorting money from a couple while being the surrogate mother for their baby. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
Prosecutors allege 33-year-old Teresa Mertes lied multiple times during her pregnancy in an effort to get more money from the couple she had the surrogacy agreement with. Charging documents obtained by KSL.com say at one point she threatened to terminate the pregnancy if she was not paid $7,000. Sometime later, documents say she falsely claimed to have a miscarriage and asked for $2,500 for the baby's remains.
The baby is now safely with their parents in Washington, D.C., and the surrogate mother is facing multiple felony charges. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump is currently in Doha, Qatar, meeting with the president and the emir of that country.
We've been friends for a long time. Hard to believe, right? Remember that first meeting very well. And we've liked each other and we worked with each other. And now we can work in the highest capacity.
This visit comes right after Qatar offered to gift President Trump with a 747 luxury jet that the Trump administration says could be used as a temporary Air Force One. Salt Lake City could be growing in size. The council voted to move forward with a plan to annex hundreds of acres in the North Point community. The plan's been in the works for more than a year. A final vote could happen as early as next week. Your money at this moment, the Dow is basically even. It's up 2 points to 42,142. Coming up, more rain today, and it's been affecting the drive all morning long. We'll check traffic and weather together next. KSL News Time, 10:01. The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Behold, 'tis I, Queen Trustworth, sentinel for seniors amongst the Knights of Scamalot, here to give thee warning. Scams and fraud are on the rise in Utah, and seniors are especially under siege. Be wary of unsolicited texts, phone calls, and salespeople asking for personal or financial information, and never send money to someone thou hast only met online. If thou hast doubts, talk to someone thou trusteth and get educated at scams.utah.gov.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home, and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, We're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy-downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot, 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 and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh, yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See you for full details and disclaimer.
At Trio Senior Living, older adults aren't slowing down. They're just getting started. The Prime Fit Wellness Program expands wellness beyond the gym into every aspect of community life. Whatever your goals, the team at Trio Senior Living has got your back so you can put your best foot forward. Call 801-475-4004 today to schedule your personal visit.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Emergency traffic on KSL News Radio, brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Heather, what's the update?
We still have 3 lanes of traffic blocked southbound I-15 just before you get to 400 North in Springville. Both shoulders are also blocked, and this has traffic backed up all the way to University Avenue in Provo. That's 3 miles of nearly stopped traffic. So you definitely want to take an alternate route from southbound I-15 at the south end of Utah County. There's also a crash on I-80. This is westbound right after the 700 East exit ramp. That's on the right shoulder. Take UTA instead of driving and actually enjoy your ride. Try UTA to see the difference. Plan your trip at rideuta.com or on the Transit app. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we could see some more thunderstorms pop up throughout the day, and that'll continue into tomorrow. Today's high, only 56 degrees. We're not even close right now. It's only 44 degrees and raining in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, we have some new data from Wallet Hub. I know I made that sound super exciting. Let's talk data. Actually,
let's break down some numbers.
I just think it's just fascinating to get into the minds of Americans, how we're thinking when it comes to money. And there's been a lot of discussion lately about made in America, buy in America. And Wallet Hub broke this down, looking at a study and some data, giving us a better understanding of how Americans really feel about buying products made in the United States.
I don't want to pay more. Simple as that. I don't want to pay more. I will pay more if you sell me on it. You're going to have to give me like some really strong arguments of why I should invest and pay more for something, because my default is I'm going to get it as cheaply as possible.
So you're more of a best bargain guy than a Made in America guy.
Yeah, totally. I don't even look at the tags.
Really?
I have no idea. In fact, even when I get produce, there are little stickers sometimes that are like, hey, this is where this apple is from, or this is where the orange is from. I never look at that. I don't care where it's from. I want to know if it's ripe and it's delicious.
Well, when it comes to produce, sometimes we just don't have a choice because we can't grow those kinds of crops here. And we want grapes year round now, right?
Not a lot of kiwi season in Utah.
But I think this is a sort of a cry that has puttered out over the years. 'Cause I remember growing up a long time ago, everything was like made in America. You're looking for the tag that says made in America. Now we're just like, when it comes to like fashion and clothing, so we're into fast fashion now, and that's usually a lot less expensive. And we just know that making products in America for a variety of reasons costs more. And it sells for more. So we have gotten, I think, shied away from made in America. We might say it, but I don't know if we really mean it.
And this goes, again, to the point that if I'm going to pay a premium, and you've got to sell me on why I should pay a premium for products. So, for example, we saw during COVID when the supply chain just gets exploded and everything changes, we start realizing how many things we import, and it's outrageous how much we import into this country. But for example, I started realizing, oh, you know what? So much of our pharmaceuticals is being made elsewhere, outside of the United States. Microchips being made outside of the United States. These are things that probably we should have built, or at least have some level of infrastructure, so that if the world does collapse, that we are insulated.
Wallet Hub's Chip Lupo, he's a writer and analyst for Wallet Hub, is on the line with us. I'm looking at these survey results when it comes to household debt, and it is astonishing the number of Americans who are like, I'm not willing to go into debt to get a product made in America. Walk us through that, Chip.
Yeah, Dave, you've made your position pretty clear on how you feel about.
We don't ever really need to ask Dave how he really feels. He lets us know.
Yeah, but Dave, you're not in the minority on this one, because we have found that 60% of Americans say they're not willing to add to their household debt just for the purpose of being made in the USA. Now, it's interesting. It's all about timing here, because I think that if this survey had been taken in 2019, pre-COVID, I think you would see the numbers would balance out a little bit more, because I think, and again, you were talking about making a case, and I think people would be willing to pay just a little bit more for products made in the USA for national security reasons. You mentioned the pharmaceuticals, and also made in America means American jobs. So if part of your financial situation is maybe you're underemployed or even unemployed, the job market's going to open up for more opportunities.
That's such a great point, Chip. And I think this is where we've failed along the lines, is we haven't made the case of why we should buy American. Because I don't necessarily think it's a quality thing. We've received, or we have things all over our house that are high quality that are not built in America. So that point of, if you're going to say buy American just 'cause, it's got to be a better argument than that. And I think all things being equal, perhaps we'll buy American if it's convenient enough.
Right. Dave, you make a good point. And I think the criticisms, I think, in the whole tariff process has been that they haven't laid out their argument enough. And I think if they do a better job of spinning it that way, people will be more willing. But again, the situation now is that now tariffs, if they go the way they're supposed to, there's going to be some initial price shocks, but things are going to level off and probably decrease. But because people are so financially distressed right now, there's little room for error. There's no wiggle room. They cannot afford, nor are they willing to add on to their current debt. Again, 5 years ago, the situation may have been different.
Well, and in your debt survey shows, right, Chip, that quite a few Americans think that tariffs are going to increase their household debt. So I'd imagine a lot of folks are turtling in right now, making sure they're not sticking their neck out financially too far.
Right. 2 in 3 Americans think that tariffs are going to increase their household debt, and it will in the short term. Again, now whether that's a few weeks or a few months, but again, because of the situation that a lot of American households, there's no wiggle room. They don't have basically no time to wait. But it is encouraging that households are finally taking a step back and looking at their household debt and looking at ways of how to manage it better.
Chip, one of the things that I've realized about myself is, quite frankly, I just don't know how much things cost. Like if I want to buy some barbells, if I want to get into some weightlifting, I have no idea what a pair of barbells cost until I go onto Amazon and it gives me 50 different options, and I look at it that way. I wonder how disconnected Americans are to what things cost. I couldn't even tell you if a pound of bananas is 59 cents or $1.59.
Right. Now, using the barbell analogy, barbells are probably not something you go out and buy every week, so you're probably not aware of any price shifts. The $50 barbell that you bought today, maybe a year ago, was $35. So
right.
Yeah, you're not. You said something just a few minutes ago that are you seeing some data Chip, that shows that Americans are starting to get a hold of their debt?
Well, I think this survey bears that out because they're willing not to take on any more debt because they're realizing that they're in financial distress, and in a lot of cases it is self-inflicted. In a lot of cases, this is a product of the economy the last 4.5 years. People are relying more and more on their credit cards for everyday spending, and now it's finally dawning on them that that all of these purchases they're making on these credit cards have a 22 to 23% interest rate tacked onto it.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
We talked about revenge travel. Are we maybe on the tail end of revenge travel / revenge spending after COVID?
I think so, and I think people are and Dave, I think you had mentioned people are kind of stepping back a little bit and trying not to. Now, to be clear now, what the tariffs are going to do, they're not going to. There's no effect on anything that's currently inventoried in the U.S. right now. The tariffs will apply to anything that's imported. So once U.S. inventories run out and they're having to import items in, that's when you're going to see the prices go up. And I think people are being very, very careful to not panic buy this time around. Like
Finally.
Clearly, because there is toilet paper. Yeah, clearly.
Right,
Chip.
toilet paper, Clorox wipes, and all of that, because if you go out and panic buy, you're using up supplies that are you're going to create supply and demand issues, and then that's going to drive the prices up even more.
That's a great point. Chip Lupo, always great to talk to you. Thanks so much. Writer and analyst. Yeah, with Wallet Hub. Appreciate you weighing in on this. We're going to take live calls. Maybe you're the one who's willing to pay a premium for Made in the USA. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Would you pay that premium to know you got something that was made on American soil?
What I've realized, number one, no. I wouldn't be willing to pay a premium. What I have maybe come to terms with is I will pay a premium for quality. And I don't necessarily care where that quality is coming from, but instead of this fast fashion where you wear something a couple of times and then it basically falls off your body because it's so poorly put together, I think I value not so much made in America as made well.
Well, you don't even check tags.
No, I don't.
So how are you going to know? See, that's a whole habit shift. If you aren't checking tags because you're not even thinking about it, how are you going to know? Unless you walk through a store and it says everything in the store is made in America, you're not in the habit of checking tags. You are like so many people, myself included. I am in the habit of checking the price, and I'm looking for the best deal. And finding it in myself to shift that habit in a world that we live in where we're always trying to shift habits, whether it's parking your cell phone more so you don't seem like you're addicted to it when your family's trying to talk to you, or better sleep habits, or better exercise habits. This, unfortunately, falls to the bottom of my list of habit shifts I'm in the mood to make right now. And I think I don't think we're alone. 801-575-TALK. We're getting phone calls, Dave.
Let's jump out to Todd in West Valley. Todd, what are your thoughts on this? Would you pay more for Made in America?
Depends on what it is, but, I got to tell you, the interesting part is, now Deb won't be able to relate to this. She's not old enough. but you...
All right,
Dave
old
would
man
relate.
Todd, go ahead and tell us your good old-timey story, Todd.
But Dave would remember this. When the first Walmart came to Utah, it was in Taylorsville, and everywhere they had proudly "Made in America, Made in America." That was Walmart's push.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden, it's like lowest prices, cheapest garbage.
Yeah.
interesting.
I do remember there used to be a push. Todd, we're probably the same age. A push growing up in the 70s. I remember seeing that push for Made in America, proudly Made in America. And the fact is we get look, let's face it. We are the land of consumerism here. We buy stuff we have 10 of at home already. We don't even know what's in the inventory of the junk drawer or the 3 junk drawers in our kitchen. And so as things come in from China and they're cheaper, our habits that habit shifts automatically because, we like to buy things and it's cheaper when it's coming in from another country. I'm not saying it's right. It's just how we think and how we're functioning at this point. And the Made in America cry now seems like a thing of the 70s, of 50 years ago. It's passé. Maybe somebody needs to bring it back and bring it back profoundly. Maybe it'll work.
I do wonder if it is a marketing issue more than anything else, because if I were to walk into a store, perhaps a Walmart, and it said, this is the Made in America section, would I be drawn to that? Perhaps. Right? I think we're so influenced by marketing, we just have not marketed that. You're absolutely right. We are marketed by price. Yeah. Even the $2.99 is all marketing. It's no different than $3, but $2.99 looks a little better. If it were marketed that way, and again, we tell the story of this was built in Springville, Utah. Am I going to give that product priority over somewhere else? Yeah, because I know people from Springville, Utah.
The evidence is in the yesteryear of Black Friday when they would leave the doors shut and people would line up for days waiting for the doors to open so they could get one of the 5 televisions for $200 that were inside that store, and we would crush each other over that. People were hurt, injured. Security guards were crushed against shopping carts. We're looking for some of that's marketing, but we're really looking to save money. And whoever can pitch us on the savings, we buy into that. 801-575-TALK. We got more phone calls.
All right, Rob, let's hear your pitch.
Great conversation. My point of view is a little bit different, having researched China and peer adversaries in the Department of Defense. But my perspective is a return to value when it comes to our products. China is extreme. There's extreme vulnerabilities when it comes to technology. They've stolen our technologies for the last 20 years. 20 plus years. So my optimism here when it comes to the buying products from America is that it's a return to value. If I can see a person, look them in the eyes, and they live near me, that product's going to be more. They're going to produce it with pride and more value to the consumer.
Do you trust products that are made in America? Is yours based on trust then?
So I'm more inclined to trust products from people who make it that I either know locally in my community, or I can look them in the face, and they can feel the whether I like the product or not. So for sure.
Yeah. Wow, that's an intriguing take. Thanks so much for your call, Rob. Dave got a text here. Let me read it to you. You can always use our text line if it's safe to do so at 57500. Listener says, there are not enough people looking for jobs in America. There's a lot of jobs openings right now. People do not want manufacturing jobs in America. So that's another side of this.
Oh, in part, we don't want manufacturing jobs because we've been so lucky when it comes to the job market. So some will say so blessed in the job market. If you want a job, if you want to work, you can get a job. You can work. The reason why much of the manufacturing in the world is done outside of the United States is because people are feeling desperately lucky to have a job, period. And a reliable job like a manufacturing job is the crown jewel. It's a great job. Here in America, we're a little bit spoiled. So it doesn't surprise me that people are saying, we just don't want to do the manufacturing jobs here in America.
Let's squeeze in one more call from Brian from, the rest of the world calls it Hooper, but here we call it Hooper. How's it in Hooper today, Brian?
It's raining.
Yeah.
Gladly.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we're sharing that with you too. We got rain here too. What's up?
Well, back in the early 80s, late 70s, I worked in a piping industry, and the best quality stuff we could get was German or Japanese. I think if we push the USA without pushing the quality in our products, we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
Totally agree. Yeah, if we're going to pay more, the expectation is you've got to give me a quality product. And that's where I say I'm willing to pay a premium for quality, but it better be a significant upgrade. We were talking about shoes, Debbie, and so many times we buy shoes, they fall apart, they're like single-use wear type things. But there are high-quality shoes that people have had for 30, 40 years. They get them resold all the time because they are holding up.
One listener had the boots.
Yeah, they had the boots that were, I had them from 1963.
Well, they paid a pretty penny for them.
Yes, but when you're paying for quality and then you don't have to purchase it over and over and over again, like my annual toaster, then it makes sense.
Your annual toaster.
It is my annual toaster. Or my annual microwave, semi-annual microwave.
I was just thinking we should have done a pop quiz. Like, what's one thing in our home that we know for sure is made in America? Oops. We would have both.
My kids?
Yeah. we would have failed, Dave. Like, what's one thing? Just think about it. We're not home right now. What's the one thing that we know for sure we bought? Because
it's the only thing I can guarantee.
Your kids. That doesn't, you didn't buy your kids. Oh, thanks so much for your live calls. Straight ahead, we got lots more coming up next. Streaming. The prices are spiking again. Dave was complaining about this to no end before the show, so we're going to let you hear him vent live next.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America. We have a new crash on the west side belt. This is southbound I-215. Right near 700 North, you have one of the semi-trucks that carries other vehicles that is jackknife and crashed. Looks like maybe some of those cars came off of that vehicle as well. Only one right lane getting through. Traffic backed up to 2200 North, and you still have 3 lanes closed southbound I-15 in Springville. Right before 400 North, 3 right lanes blocked there. Traffic backed up over 3 miles into Provo. Wasatch Front businesses and property managers, GoPave Utah provides all asphalt repairs for your parking. For patching and paving along the Wasatch Front, contact GoPave Utah. GoPaveUtah.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
The main character in every news story is a real person.
I want people who listen to Midday to listen to the show and think it is about them. They're hearing a story that touches them in some way.
The main character in every news story is you.
Whether it is their pocketbook, whether it is their child's safety, people should hear something that is more thought-provoking.
Midday with Maria Chaleos. All new noon to 3 on KSL News Radio.
If you have a family member that is struggling with addiction and you're looking for the best way to help them, get involved. Renaissance Ranch wants to help you get involved in the recovery process because the research has shown that when you have family members, when you have loved ones that are involved in the recovery process, the chances of a positive outcome skyrocket.
One thing I certainly appreciate about Renaissance Ranch, Dave, is that they do make it easy for you to get involved. So if you have a family member who's dealing with addiction, I've said it before, I'll say it again, please do not lose yourself. And what Renaissance Ranch has done is they've compiled a great list of online classes that you can jump online, and it's just like you can learn all kinds of things that'll help you protect yourself and learn how to help your loved one.
There's classes for spouses, for parents. There's a women's support group. There's a couples recovery group, and they've been doing this for more than 20 years.
And it's free, okay? Free, free, free. I can't say it enough. It's free. There's classes almost every day, a couple of times a day. You can take it at your convenience, in the kitchen of your own home.
Yeah, they want to treat the entire family. Make sure you learn more about these free online classes at renaissanceranch.com. That's renaissanceranch.com.
Do you need new windows? Look, all glass pretty much looks the same to the naked eye, but if your windows aren't triple-coated, argon-filled and sealed double-pane glass, the cold is seeping in. You need to call Advanced Window Products. They use the highest quality glass and premium vinyl to create state-of-the-art windows and frames, and for 38 years, they build those frames right here in Utah. Custom crafted for Utah's climate. The best windows you can buy at prices 30 and 40% less than what the big companies charge because they cut out the middleman. They're the factory. They even give you a lifetime warranty, and right now as we head into spring, save an extra $2,500 off 10 windows or more. Custom windows that'll give your house a fresh new look and save you money on your heating and air conditioning. Advanced Windows offers 60-month 0% financing, even buy now, pay later, and an extra $2,500 off. Call for a quote. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635, and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
10:30 on KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, UDOT preparing to open the roads between East Canyon and Immigration Canyon at the Monte Cristo Highway today, nearly 2 weeks earlier than normal. Typically, they don't open until at least Memorial Day. UDOT spokesperson Mitch Shaw says they usually have to close these roads after Thanksgiving.
We don't close them because we want to. Of course, we'd prefer to keep them open, but we're kind of at the mercy of Mother Nature, and we want to make sure everybody's safe, and that includes the traveling public and our crews that would be up there maintaining the roads.
Shaw says they're planning to open Guardsman Pass a week from tomorrow. Construction on Bryce Canyon's 22-mile hiking and biking trail will return this month. St. George News reports the park is planning to work on the remaining 2.3 miles, stretching from Bryce Canyon City through the park and ending at Red Canyon. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Dozens of wildfires started in northern Minnesota over the past 24 hours. Fed by dry conditions and windy weather, Governor Tim Walz has called up the National Guard.
We had over 80 fires burning. Many of those have been contained and are under control. There are three big ones where you'll hear the details about. The Campos fire you keep hearing about is the one that has burned 80 structures and is a pretty dangerous one.
The largest of the wildfires has burned roughly 12,000 acres. Your money at this moment, the Dow's been hovering on either side of even for most of the morning. Right now it's in the negative 41 points to 42,099. Coming up, the scattered showers continue. We've had a lot of emergency traffic today. Traffic and weather together coming up next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hey, folks. Hey, I want to tell you guys about my Connecticut water softener. I've been enjoying the benefits of soft water for so many years, I've completely taken it for granted. Not only the benefits, which is number one on the list, the Noriegas have very, very dry skin, have to bathe in lotion, and soft water has played such a crucial role in keeping our skin hydrated and healthy. We just love the benefits of soft water. Connecticut water softeners, though, are not only effective, but they're efficient. And that is outstanding because that's going to save you a lot of money over the long term. They use 2/3 less salt than other water softeners. It's because the way their all-mechanical system works, it measures water precisely. There's no computer, there's no guesstimating. It only cycles when needed. And then the result is that Connecticut gives you that perfectly soft 24/7 water using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back? Instead of carrying 3 bags of salt, just carry 1. Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, right now at 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. Or, of course, you can log on and check them out online at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. With an update, here's Heather Kelly.
We've got 3 miles of nearly stopped traffic southbound I-15 between University Avenue in Provo down to 400 North in Springville. This was due to a multi-vehicle crash that had been blocking 3 right lanes of the freeway. Looks like they're just starting to open a couple more of those lanes, but you still have cars on both shoulders. Then we have another crash on the west side belt. This is southbound I-215 right at 700 North. A car hauler jackknifed. It's blocking 3 left lanes of the freeway. Only 1 right lane is open. Traffic there at a crawl and backed up to 2200 North. There's also a crash on I-80. This is westbound at 700 North, at 700 East. It's over on the right shoulder. Don't miss the Rocky Mountain Gun Show at Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy, May 17th and 18th. Get 500 rounds of 9mm ammo for just $85. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, scattered thunderstorms continuing throughout the day, and the high in Salt Lake City will only hit 56 degrees. Pretty much the same tomorrow, but a little warmer at 64 degrees. Right now it's rainy and 44 degrees in Salt Lake. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Right on the money. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Just envision like walking into your place of work. In our case, it's the newsroom. You sit down in a conference room to kind of sketch out the show with your co-host named Dave. And he is all up in arms by 7:05 about the cost of streaming services. I mean, and the man cannot stop talking. And eventually I'm like, hey, we've got 3 hours of a show to plan here. How about if we put this in it? And he's like, finally.
I got some things to say about the streaming.
What's your beef? Like, what was the headline that captured your ire this morning?
Streaming prices are spiking once again. This time, it goes from Disney princesses to NBA playoffs. Like, that's who it's going to affect. If you have anyone in your family that likes Disney princesses or the NBA playoffs, everyone in between, this is who it's going to affect. It's the Disney, Hulu, ESPN bundle.
In that, it was just announced. I did see that cross yesterday, and I kind of went, don't need those. But apparently somebody in here does need those, because that would be my take, is just don't order them.
I know it's that simple. Okay, so this is where my initial reaction, a little bit visceral, a little bit angry, a little bit wound up, I get it. But they're raising the prices, not until September, so don't worry. Your summer fun hasn't been ruined. But in September, they're going to raise the prices to $37 a month.
For the bundle.
For the bundle.
Why does that sound like a bargain to me? I know you're
this. No.
And I'm not a streamer, right? I've canceled most. I think I'm borrowing a couple of apps right now from my youngest. She's left them on my TV.
Borrowing.
Yeah.
That's why
sure
I'm paying the 36.
Those are going to go away though, very, very soon. I do know that. We're gonna decouple.
You said that doesn't sound too bad. And here's the worst part of this whole conversation. You're right. It is not that bad. It feels bad because the prices keep going up, and every single year, all of a sudden, Netflix that started off at $7.99 is now $18.
Is it?
Yeah, it
For
can be
what?
up as
Is
high
that
as
for the
25.
Cadillac version?
No, Cadillac version's $25.
What's the one without commercials?
That's 25.
See, I'll just suffer through the commercials. I actually think some of these commercials are kind of fun to watch. Sometimes they're the best part of viewing.
You watching the Super Bowl?
I know, right? I wish every commercial were like a Super Bowl commercial. But so 30, what is it? You say $37? They're going to start bundling it that way. And what is it right now?
It depends on what your bundle is, but it's been as low as $20 a month. So in just the last couple of years, we've jumped from $19.99 up to $36 going in September. So let me just give you a list of some of the prices that you're looking at and why cord cutting is still a pretty good decision. Right now, this is the Cadillac. You've got the Disney, Hulu, ESPN bundle, $36 a month. Netflix, $18 a month. Prime Video, that's $18 or $15 a month. Apple TV, Paramount, Peacock. If you want to go Major League Baseball app and the Jazz Mammoth app, all of those combined, $144. This is the Cadillac. This is giving you HBO Max. This is giving you the NBA playoffs. This is giving you 162 Major League Baseball games, $144.
So this is giving me flashbacks to about 15 years ago when the cable company I was with told me they're going to raise my monthly cable bill to about $150 a month, and I said I'm out.
Yep.
I'm becoming a cord cutter. However, I need to clarify that. That also included my Wi-Fi service. So I think it's really unfair to say, it was just my TV viewing that was being fed. No, it was also my Wi-Fi service. So what I decided to do then was try to figure out how to go with these individual apps, which was so joyful in the moment.
It is miserable.
It was, especially
is this on Paramount? Is this on Hulu?
Stepping into
Prime?
it for the first time.
No, Netflix. It was on Netflix. Now it's on Prime.
For a moment, I felt like cord cutting was a really bad idea for people like me. But I figured it out thanks to the help of my kids, and I kept my Wi-Fi separate, which turned out to be like $55 a month of that. And I really, I initially went with Netflix, and over the years, I've expanded my horizons. I download or I initiate or whatever, start the app based on what show I want to watch.
Yes.
So if I hear something spectacular and I have a hard time figuring out where, sitting down and not falling asleep and watching the whole thing, but I figure out what show's really spectacular that everybody's watching, and I will download whatever app carries that show. And I think that's part of the frustration, at least for me, is it seems like it's a variety of apps that host these different shows. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, you've got to launch this app. And
I got to remember to cancel the other one so I'm not charged.
Yeah, it is. And this is, okay, so this is the takeaway here. Worst case scenario, you're maybe $150 a month. This is on par with satellite, cable. In fact, you could even get cable and satellite for a little bit cheaper. But largely, these are kind of evening out what you're paying as a cord cutter.
Really?
It used to be where cord cutting was way more expensive.
It was way lopsided.
Yeah. So this is what
to have cable was way more expensive.
Yes.
Or satellite.
Yes, both.
Yeah.
Right.
And now what you're saying, so let me just get my brain wrapped around this. What you're saying is that when you start purchasing all these streaming services to throw on your television, that price is actually caught up to cable or satellite. Do we do cable anymore?
Yeah.
Is there still cable?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
sorry. I just don't know.
No, and what I didn't include on this, Debbie, was YouTube TV. which is what we use, that's an additional $80. So, in fact, if I were to include my YouTube TV with all these streaming services, it would be way more expensive than my satellite or DirecTV.
How much would it be?
Oh, it would be over $200. It would be somewhere around $225.
So, close to, what is that per year? Like $3,000 a year or something like that? If you leaned all into this, $2,200, $2,300, $2,500 a year?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. Well, what we thought was such a good deal, here's the key, can still be a good deal. You have to regularly review and manage your streaming subscriptions. There's no getting around it. If you're going to be a cord cutter and you want to save money, then you have to be able to say, I'm going to watch Max. I'm going to watch Game of Thrones for 2 months while it's being released, and then I'm going to stop it. And I'm not going to start again until Game of Thrones comes around in another year or a year and a half. If you're willing to regularly review your subscriptions, cancel them and resurrect them and bring them back and forth, then it can save you a lot of money. If you want to be hands-off, if you don't want to mess with it, then guess what? We're talking about bringing the satellite dish back to your, back to your home. But then again, even if you do bring the satellite or the cable back, that doesn't necessarily mean you can go without Netflix, because so many of these shows are specific just to these streaming services.
What you just said is, I have to take more inventory. That's what I heard.
Yes.
Like what streaming service I'm using, how much it went up.
I just canceled one today.
You did?
Yeah,
You
because
never
I was
do
doing
that.
this story. I know I usually just give people my money, but it was I didn't realize this. I have an app, Rocket Money, that tracks all my subscriptions.
Oh, interesting.
And it said, hey, by the way, this one's coming up in 9 days. I'm like, I haven't used that one for months, and I
Oh.
canceled it right there.
And how much was it going to cost you to renew?
Oh, I think it's $11.99.
That's
a
important
month.
now. That's $11 that you can now take across the street and buy Crown Burger with.
Now
right?
we're talking.
Right. 801-575-TALK. Dave wants to take your live calls. I don't blame him. I think this kind of stuff, it's the financial creep, right? You think you're getting in at one price, and you are, but then all of a sudden you want to add another app, and before you know it, you've got all the apps, and then you're adding YouTube TV. So where have you drawn the line, or have you drawn the line with streaming services in your home? 801-575-TALK. We're going to take live calls next.
Summer is just around the corner. Kickstart your next great adventure during Motorsportsland RV Center's huge pre-Memorial Day sale. Save big on hundreds of RVs, travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motorhomes, all priced to move before the holiday rush. Get camping ready with travel trailers from just $6 a day, or upgrade to a luxury RV and save thousands. Unlike other dealers, we don't sneak in hidden fees for freight, prep, or orientation. What you see is what you pay. Every RV comes with free training, so you're adventure ready the moment you leave the lot. With flexible financing, upfront pricing, and Utah's best selection, your summer adventure starts at a Motorsportsland RV Center. Hurry into Mill Creek or Spanish Fork, or visit motorsportsland.com and let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Motorsportsland.com.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America. This is for the West Side Belt, I-215 southbound. A jackknife truck that's a car hauler is blocking 3 left lanes of the freeway right at 700 North, only 1 right lane getting through. This has traffic backed up to 2200 North. If you're coming out of Davis County, you may want to consider sticking with I-15 southbound into Salt Lake. Wasatch Front businesses and property managers, GoPave Utah provides all asphalt repairs for your parking. For patching and paving along the Wasatch Front, contact GoPave Utah. GoPaveUtah.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down. Get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Teens can get up to $200 with a Teen Learn and Earn account. Plus, continue earning rewards as they master the essentials of finance. More at cypresscu.com/teen.
Dave, and Dujanovic.
Dave just laid out the case, not necessarily against streaming services, but for being like a better inventorier of the services that you have, because he got some sticker shock this morning when he saw that the price of this ESPN, Disney, did I say ESPN? ESPN, Disney bundle, Hulu bundle, is it going up?
Yeah, going up to $36 a month. Not until September, so your summer is fine.
801-575-TALK. We're going to take live calls because Dave wants to hear if, you've limited your streaming services. Where have you drawn the line with your streaming services? So give us a call, 801-575-TALK.
This was my aha moment when I was looking through all of the streaming services that are out there that I have or have had. It is basically $150 per month. If I spread that out over the entire year, I'm looking at $1,800 a month or a year. Do you know what I can get for $1,800 per year? 2 season tickets to the Jazz. It's in the cheap seats. It's going to be in the nosebleeds, but I can get 2 season tickets to all the games.
Like a half pack or a quarter pack?
No, that's all 41 games.
Okay, then I dare you to cancel everything.
And then I sell it to my wife. Hey, honey, we got to go to a terrible Jazz game. I'm sorry. The Jazz are bad right now. Let's not pretend like they're not bad.
Well, but it's about...
I still love them.
No, I think I liked how you looked at that, though. That if I give this up, which feels like it's costing me more and more and more, there's a financial creep with these services. It's just cutting into our pocketbook more and more. I can then get date nights with my wife.
Yeah.
Which I think that's what these games are all about anyway. And you look at them differently than I do. I don't come in crying to work the next day if your
rough night,
my
Dave.
team loses.
Buzzer beater, Deb.
He literally told me the other day, I can't catch a break. That's what he said after the Jazz fell to 5th in the lottery. I said, sorry about the Jazz. He goes, I can't catch a break. I was like, all right,
burdened
man.
life of Dave Noriega.
Hi, Lynn. It sounds like you live in Conwood Heights. I lived there for a lot of years. Did you cut the cord entirely on streaming services?
Pretty much. The only one I have is Netflix. What I did is I went to Antenna, and then I use Channel Master, and then there's also Tableau to do my recording of the programs I want. That doesn't cost me a thing after buying the units, and I can do it in multiple rooms, especially with Tableau. Tableau, I think is what it's called.
So back up just a moment, Lynn. What shows can you watch with an antenna? It's been a long time, and I remember at points when we had those. I mean, sometimes they were hard to, get those programs loaded with the antenna. So does it work most of the time?
Yeah, I haven't had a problem. Of course, I can see. I have clear view from my house all the way out to Farnsworth Peak, so that might be part of the reason it works so good for me. There's only one set of channels that doesn't work, and when I've talked to others that have done the same thing, they have the same problem with the same set of channels. But other than that, you've got about 60 stations you can use. Then I have Sirius for my radio in the car, and I also use that on my computer and so on. And most of the talk shows, I don't need to see them. I just want the content. And so I will listen to that, usually in the car. And a lot of times in the West Desert, I can't get regular radio anyway, so Sirius works good there. And, yeah, I've done this for about 7 years now.
That's amazing. You sound like dialed in for success with this, though. I always worry about the rabbit ears, right? I mean, I'm like, I cannot stand with these rabbit ears on my head. I think we used to get out tinfoil back in the day and see if we could extend them. So, but you're saying it's better.
What I have is on my main TV, I have an amplifier antenna, which sits behind the TV. You don't see it at all. My TV downstairs, I have an antenna behind a picture, so you don't see that.
Nice.
So I haven't had rabbit ears at all for years and years.
Oh, amazing!
How funny is that we're going back to antennas? I love it, Lynn. Thank you so much. It's one of those things, though. When I'm looking at this list, Disney, Hulu, ESPN, Netflix, Prime, Apple TV, Paramount, Major League Baseball. Those are all things that I have right now. How much do you think I'm watching of all of these things? I watch maybe one show with my wife, one show per week, maybe two. And when I say one show, probably one episode, a couple episodes. Every once in a while, we'll find something we like, we'll binge it. But this is wasted money on me, Deb. I watch all the baseball games. Great. That one makes sense. The baseball one makes sense. The rest, what am I doing?
Yeah. Well, I think we set it and forget it.
Totally.
We download it. Also, sometimes I find it excruciatingly painful to try to unsubscribe. I had that not too long ago with one of the apps, and I was paying a little bit of money for it, but I bought it because the World Series and because I wanted to watch the Super Bowl and all the amazing sporting events in between. And then I went to cancel it, and I was like, why am I getting stuck in this cycle? Now, it didn't take me long. At the end of it, it was like 10 or 15 minutes, but it was just a little bit of frustration that I thought about giving up and trying again tomorrow and going to bed. And then I know by tomorrow I would have forgotten
about it. I went through that very thing this morning when I told you I was going through this story, realizing, I've got to cancel one of these things. I went onto my phone. I tried to cancel it. They say you can't cancel it from the app. You can't use your phone. You've got to go to your desktop computer. Then I had to go find my desktop. I got to log in and then cancel it. To your point, they make it difficult, which is silly. I mean, we know what they're doing. But I think if you're willing to take inventory, if you're willing to review and manage your streaming subscriptions, only bring them back when you want to watch a specific show and then immediately cancel it, you can save a ton of money. But I think we're all set it and forget it and just pay the $150 a month.
Well, I think we also need to start looking at what we really need.
Totally.
Just like with anything.
Man.
I love how many times you've said totally to everything I've said today.
You're saying so many good things right now, Deb. You're on fire. Bottle this up.
I mean, I could be done, right, with this show. It's been so spectacular for me, but I'm not. I got another hour here. Can't wait to talk about this conversation. Brought to us courtesy of a burglary suspect who used his back end to bust through a vinyl fence at a Taylorsville home. Then tried to bust down the side door with somebody inside. Thankfully, the family, whoever was in there, it looked like maybe they had the door locked. But all this was caught on home video. And I think what it really brings to light for us is that you never know when a burglary suspect is going to set his or her sights on your home. We're going to walk you through it next, but here's a taste of what you're going to hear.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Omada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy-downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
Healthcare with human kindness is here. It's at Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Together, we have a common purpose, partnering with you in health and healing using powerful medicine, powerful technology, and the greatest power of all, human kindness. You'll know it when you see it, because human kindness is in every care site and in every caregiver. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
This Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then, browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes a new inventory every day. Then, they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. You're invited to visit the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
The main character in every news story is a real person.
I want people who listen to Midday to listen to the show and think it is about them. They're hearing a story that touches them in some way.
The main character in every news story is you.
Whether it is their pocketbook, whether it is their child's safety, people should hear something that is more thought-provoking.
Midday with Maria Chaleos. All new noon to 3 on KSL News Radio.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jessica Lowell. KSL's top story this hour. Dozens of Utah international students who had their legal statuses revoked without notice last month are getting them back. In a new court filing, the federal government has agreed to reinstate legal statuses for students from around the country and go back over each student on a case-by-case basis. Immigration attorney Adam Craik was one of several attorneys to file a lawsuit on behalf of some of the students affected here in Utah.
Myself and the other attorneys were all very, very happy that this is the end result.
Craig says some students could still see their legal statuses revoked again if they've been accused of serious crimes, but the others should be allowed to stay to continue their studies. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump is continuing his 3-nation Middle East trip today in Qatar. ABC National White House correspondent Karen Travers is traveling with the president.
President Trump holding a historic meeting in Riyadh Wednesday morning with the new president of Syria, the first engagement by a U.S. president with a Syrian leader in 25 years. The president on Air Force One en route to Qatar telling reporters about the meeting.
Right, I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy, strong pass, very strong pass fighter.
The meeting with President al-Shara comes just after President Trump announced he is taking first steps toward normalizing relations with Syria and is moving to lift U.S. sanctions on Syria. Karen Travers, ABC News, traveling with the president in Doha.
Warner Brothers Discovery is walking back a name change. Max is going back to HBO Max 2 years after they rebranded their streaming service. They say the HBO brand amplifies the uniqueness of the services they offer. Your money at this moment, mixed day on Wall Street, Dow down 89 points, NASDAQ up 107. Coming up, the latest on southbound 215. KSL traffic is next. KSL News Time 11:02.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Hit it.
It's time to spring into summer with Soda Weight Loss, because right now you'll get our biggest discount of the year.
Are you serious? Just 3 weeks in, and the pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight. Without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I let go of 50 pounds. It felt unreal. I was so proud of myself. My body did exactly what it wanted to do. I just gave it its tools.
Let's spring into summer right now with Soda Weight Loss. If you want to look like this for summer, now is the time to join America's #1 weight loss company for client satisfaction and results.
Remember, this is our best offer of the year, so let's go.
Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Spring is the perfect time to refresh your home, and Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning is here to help. Right now, when you get the carpet of 3 rooms cleaned, you'll get an additional room cleaned absolutely free. And for a whole home refresh, take 20% off upholstery cleaning. Unlike traditional cleaners, Zero Res uses patented ZR water, a powerful cleaning solution that lifts dirt and grime without harsh chemicals or detergents. That means your carpets and upholstery stay cleaner longer and dry in hours, not days. It's safe for kids, pets, and the environment. Plus, every cleaning comes with a Zero Res Gotta Love It guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied, Zero Res will re-clean for free within 30 days. Don't miss out on these limited time offers, because spring cleaning starts now. Get started today at zerores.com and mention KSL to lock in your deal.
If you've got a honey-do list with electrical, plumbing, heating, or air conditioning projects on it, Any Hour Services can help. Call Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. anyhourservices.com.
Emergency traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Oh, Heather, please tell us there are some improvements on the roads.
No, and it's getting worse as a matter of fact. But we're going to start with the West Side Belt, southbound I-215 at 700 North. You have a car hauler that jackknifed, and it's blocking 3 left lanes of the freeway. Only 1 right lane is open. That has traffic backed up before the 2200 North exit in that area. You want to stay on southbound I-15 if you're coming out of Davis County. And now we have a new crash northbound I-15 just before 5600 South in Roy. I can't tell which lanes are blocked, but I've watched at least half a dozen emergency vehicles head northbound from Sunset up into Roy. So at least 2 lanes are probably blocked with the crash and the emergency vehicles. Traffic backed up to 650 North in Clearfield, so you'll want to avoid I-15 northbound heading into Weber County. Advanced Window Products offer Graber window coverings, high-end quality with the best warranty. Save 30% off when you mention KSL. AdvancedWindows.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Chance of storms today and tomorrow. We'll get a reprieve Friday, but a good chance of a wet weekend. Highs mostly staying in the 50s and 60s for the next week. Right now it's 45 degrees and lightly raining. I'm Jessica Lowell from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com or Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
And this story is brought to us courtesy a burglary suspect. He used his back end to bust through a vinyl fence in Taylorsville. Tried to bust down the side door of a home. And all the angles seem to have been caught on home video cameras. So we're going to begin this by listening to this alleged burglar's extreme efforts to bust down the fence and maybe even get in the door. And we're going to find out in a minute how little he got away with.
How about a ginormous high five to home video cameras? This was incredible because we saw this happening in such detail. We saw exactly. There was multiple cameras being used that we saw this happening. But to see how odd this was for me, to watch him go up to this 6-foot-high vinyl fence and just trying to smash it down with his backside, and then he goes falling head over heels through the fence. It was such incredibly erratic behavior. It must have been absolutely terrifying if the owners were watching this happen.
Yeah, what hit me as odd is it was not like whatever he was after was sitting in the front yard. You know, he had to get behind the fence and then get into his shed that was in the backyard. So I think what this shows and why I wanted to talk about this today is that anybody can be a target. And so often we don't talk about burglaries and, home break-ins because they pretty much literally happen every single day. But they happen and they're terrorizing. We're gonna walk through this thanks to the great work of our colleagues at KSL5 Television, who not only spoke to the victim of this, but also got copies of that surveillance footage that captured this alleged crime as it was happening, put it on television, and the story ultimately ends well. We'll get to that in just a moment. But the fact that this goes on probably every single day to the tune of 5,500 burglaries and break-ins that were reported, okay? I want to emphasize that were reported in 2023 just tells me there's a lot of this stuff that can happen at any moment. And KSL 5 TV's Andrew Adams went out to the neighborhood after we caught wind that this had happened to this family in Taylorsville. Let's let him bring us up to speed where things are at with the burglary aspect of this case, the burglary component of it. And then we're going to come out and talk about it on the other side.
Erica Walker says just before 8 on Friday evening, a pickup backed into the carport, and moments later, a stranger was at the back fence. Shortly after breaking it, the guy fell through before picking himself up and moving on to the sheds.
He stole sentimental tools that belonged to my grandfather that passed away several years ago.
And he wasn't done.
He attempted to steal a lawnmower, but he wasn't able to get it back through the fence.
Once the man gave up on the lawnmower, he moved to the interior door. And when a few hard kicks failed to get him inside, he took off.
It happened all in 4 minutes, taking a sense of peace and safety away. Like, that's very harmful and can do long-term damage. And
a couple of things that stood out to me is, number one, this all happened in 4 minutes. it looks and it felt like it was an eternity as he goes up to the vinyl fence. He starts kicking it down, breaking it down, goes into the shed in the backyard. He pulls out this lawnmower, and he can't get the lawnmower through the fence, so he literally reaches down, lifts the lawnmower up, and then he tries to walk through this busted out hole with the lawnmower. Can't do it. Can't figure out that maybe put the lawnmower first and then follow it out. But anyway, can't get the lawnmower through the fence. And then he just leaves the lawnmower behind and just grabs some of these tools.
So yours was what caught you was the fact that it was 4 minutes.
4 minutes. Yeah. And the amount of damage and terror, quite frankly, that was unleashed.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It also happened while it was still light outside. So if you think that, these burglaries are happening, in the dark of night, of course not. They're happening in broad daylight. It's very brazen. It's very loud. So they're just going to get in and out of there as quickly as they can. In this case, it was just one suspect that we're talking about. But for me, it was if you're on the other side of that door inside that home and you hear somebody trying to kick down your door, it's the sheer terror. The sheer terror. And you have the home cameras, so maybe you can see what's going on, kind of depending on if you're in the area of your phone or whatever device is showing you visuals of what's going on outside. So maybe you know exactly what's happening. Maybe you don't. But on top of that, the fact that I think the door might have been locked. I mean, anyway, he was not able to kick down that door. It's just a reminder to me to keep my door locked. To me, at this point in this case, there's just no information at all that suggests why this guy would pick this home. So to me, at this point, it's random, right? It's just totally random. Most of them are. So it's a cautionary tale for me that you can be the victim of a random, a seemingly angry person in your own home, in the safety of your own home at any time. So walk out to the mailbox. So often I come in, I'm like, I'm going to go back outside in a few minutes. Well, I forget to go back outside in a few minutes, and the door's unlocked. It's unacceptable. It's literally just unacceptable. So it's sad to have to say that. This is kind of where we are at right now. So my cautionary tale, my takeaway from watching that was I've got to be more vigilant about keeping my doors locked. The other thing is that Andrew Adams reported that the family had offered a little bit of a reward or something like that for information leading to his capture. Well, I don't know that they would have even had to have done that. And I'll tell you why. Because I think once this video got blasted out by KSL5 and it was all over the social media, as I saw it, I was astounded by it. If you want to see it, you go to KSL5TV.com and you can see it there. I couldn't believe it, like how desperate this person appeared to be. I think we are surrounded by a community, and it's probably not exclusive to Salt Lake County or Utah County or Davis County or beyond. It's probably communities like this all over the country who will do absolutely anything to capture a bandit that has infiltrated or tried to infiltrate somebody's home for free. I mean, we just want to do what's right. And I'm happy to report on the heels of KSL5 TV's reporting that this individual was captured and arrested. So I really feel like, I mean, maybe they still give the reward out, but I think this just shows that there are so many people out there that they see video or something like that, no matter what it is, and we want to jump into action and help. And we're going to do that for free 99. I'm totally, if I
Right.
recognize somebody, I'm going to call.
Because we can absolutely put ourselves in the shoes of these homeowners. Right? Because we see, this absolutely could have been my house.
I want to say some of us have probably been in the shoes of these homeowners. So share your stories. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. What have you had stolen? Or when was that time your home was broken into? Your car was broken into? 801-575-TALK. We're going to take your live calls in just a matter of minutes. And Dave, you've been a victim.
I had my car stolen straight out of my driveway. My 1997 first car I ever purchased, 1997 Honda Civic, which we learned later on is like the most stolen car in the history of the world. It was like, it had a big old blinking neon steal me sign for anyone.
Is that because they could hotwire the thing or something?
This was before YouTube was even a thing. Like everybody apparently knew how to hack.
You didn't need a video
break
for
it.
that?
No, you didn't even need a YouTube video.
You didn't leave the keys in it or something crazy.
No keys, but apparently it was the easiest thing in the world. You could start it with, a toothpick or something. It was something wild. Anyway, they stole it straight out of my driveway. We're going out Sunday morning, getting ready to go to church. Honey, where did you park the car? It's like, in the driveway. It's not there now.
How did you feel in that moment?
Immediately I thought, oh, no way this just happened. Like, who would steal a 1997 Honda Civic? Like, this is not a luxury vehicle.
So was this a this could never happen to me moment?
Oh, totally. Yeah, in Kaysville, I lived there my entire life. This is the most boring neighborhood in America.
And also
this doesn't
kind
happen.
Of random. Like it wasn't like you were living right on I-15 there where, so so home is a little tucked back in. It's not something that's, easy to spot. You don't have the keys in the car and you walk outside expecting to pile your family into your car and drive them over to the church services. And the car's gone. So you feel in the moment like this could never happen to me.
Yeah. And I felt violated.
Violated.
Absolutely. Like, I can't believe that happened to me. Yeah. I cannot believe that just happened.
Who would do that to me?
Yeah. Again, it was just something that was so far, I hadn't even considered it. So when it touches you, all of a sudden now it's real.
And did you feel, I'm curious, how did your wife feel about it?
More annoyance than anything.
Okay.
Again, it's one thing if you have a car stolen out of your driveway. Had it been stolen out of the inside of our garage, had someone actually tried to break into our home, that's a level of violation that is even worse, right? I mean, this was more of an inconvenience. If someone were pounding on our door, trying to get inside, or maybe went into our garage, that would be a level that would be truly terrifying. It wasn't a terrifying moment for us. It was an annoyance.
801-575-TALK. We're getting calls. What was that one, the item you had stolen or the time your home got broken into? Share your stories. We're talking about this Taylorsville family that I'm sure just had the terror of their lives as this alleged burglar busted through their back fence, then looks like he tried to kick in the door, was not successful with that, but did manage to get away with some tools that held some sentimental value because they belonged to the homeowner's grandpa. Good morning, Kathy. You live in West Valley City. What's your story?
I do. So my daughter's mother-in-law was in the backyard of their home, and the husband is kind of confined, and so he was asleep in a chair. They went through her garage and stole her purse right off of her counter while she was in the backyard.
Okay, I had I would call it a bad habit of doing this. I love doing yard work, and often my yard work would take me in the backyard, and I did not have a side door in my garage that poured into my backyard, so I had to open my garage door, walk around, through the gate, and then my garage was open. I didn't have anything stolen that I know of, but I think we do this when we're doing work in the yard. We just leave our garage open. But I'm sorry that happened, but I'm glad you're sharing that because I think it's a reminder that even when broad daylight, when we're working out in the backyard, the opportunity strikes.
And our notes say that, Kathy, this happened last week, so this is fresh. Let's jump out to Ilo in West Valley as well. Ilo, what was your experience?
Well, my experience was we had just purchased our home, and we did the down payment where we painted the inside, put the carpet down, put the grass and the tree. And so me and my brother-in-law came in. We got the master bedroom, the two front rooms, and called it a day. and we had the huge carpet, put it in the garage, locked everything up. I went to work, and then the following morning, my wife calls me and said, "Are you sitting down?" I said, "Well, why? What's going on?" She said, they broke into our home. They took the carpet that we already laid down.
They stole the carpet?
They took the whole roll of carpet. They took our stove and our refrigerator.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Ilo,
So
that is
sorry.
I've never heard of carpet being stolen out of a house. That is so sorry, but that is wild. I've never heard that.
Jaron in South Jordan, what'd you have stolen?
Hi, yeah, I had the front headlights taken out of my truck, and I parked the truck so close to the garage, I couldn't get between the garage door and the truck, but they still got the headlights out.
They're
the headlights?
Shockingly
headlights.
desperate.
Yeah. If they'd have just knocked on the door and says, "Hey, will you pay me for not stealing your headlights?" I'd have paid them.
That's amazing. Jaron, thanks for
man.
your call. Dan, did you have your house broken into?
I did, actually, and I was home at the time.
What?
It was before I moved out to I used to live in Illinois, and my house got broken into while I was home. And I didn't get to the door fast enough, and I actually ended up getting into a fight with a guy, and yeah.
Is this a scenario where they walked through an unlocked door, or did they bust down the door?
They broke the window. There was a little small, like 4-inch by 6-inch window right in the middle of the door. Yeah. Yep. I was downstairs. That was upstairs, and they knocked, I guess, and then smashed the door.
How did it end?
I got into a fight with a guy.
Were you okay?
Because I came upstairs because I heard. Yeah, I ended up breaking his hand, and because the only thing I had available was a baseball bat. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. Wow. Dan, my gosh, that's scary. That is so scary. I told this story earlier in the show where I had somebody, I felt like was trying to bang down my door, an apartment I lived in. It's now in South Salt Lake. At the time, it was in Salt Lake County. And it was the middle of the night. And I shot straight out of bed. And I didn't know what to do. And I did the opposite of what I probably should have done is I ran to the door. It's crazy. Like when you just get knocked out of a cold sleep, when you have somebody banging down your door. And these doors were not, like probably security rated doors at the time. I would never been so scared. The wild thing about that story is I ran back to my phone and I called 911. This is when we had wall phones. I was so scared. Even if we had cell phones, I probably would have left it on the charger. And anyway, I called 911. Cops show up. The guy came back. The guy had come back. He ran away, and then he came back, and they were able to take him into custody. But it was a long time healing through that because I felt like my life was potentially in danger. I was super young, too. It just
That's so scary.
My older self would probably process that a lot differently now, but at the time, man, it was scary. Scary stuff.
And these things happening when people are home. I'm looking at, again, FBI crime data. Bankrate did a great job breaking these numbers down, but about a quarter of the time of these burglaries, somebody is home. Somebody's home.
Shout out to KSL5 Television and Andrew Adams for their coverage on this. And also high five to the homeowner who was willing to talk to KSL5 Television and then also put that video out there. Because I think what that ended up doing is really, our community went all hands on deck on that. The cops were able to get a suspect in custody. We'll have to see where this thing ends up, where the case ends up. But for right now, we know that there's a possible suspect in custody. And what that means is that, other people might be safer because of your willingness to talk to KSL5 TV. So high five to you.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America. We have a crash northbound I-15 right at the 5600 South Roy exit, blocking 2 left lanes of the freeway, and occasionally they stop all lanes of traffic to clean things up. It has traffic backed up 3 miles into Clearfield. You also have a crash southbound I-215 on the west side belt at 700 North. 3 left lanes are blocked, only 1 right lane open there, and that has traffic backed up to 2200 North. Wasatch Front businesses and property managers, GoPave Utah provides all asphalt repairs for your parking. For patching and paving along the Wasatch Front, contact GoPave Utah. GoPaveUtah.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
The news of the day lands harder when it affects you.
I really want our stories to focus more on the human element. Focus on how it's affecting the mom and her children. I want us to go more in depth and really take a look at what is at the heart of the story and how does it affect your pocketbook or how does it affect your lifestyle. My name is Maria Chaleos. I invite you to join us from noon to 3 for Midday right here on KSL News Radio.
Think you've seen it all? The 2025 venue is prepped. The athletes have trained. Food's on standby. The weekend and weather are clear for the event to be epic. It's the 2025 Soldier Hollow Classic Memorial Weekend, May 23rd through 26th. The greatest value for families and fun. Experience some of the best entertainment and athleticism as they test the boundary between canine and human bonds. Plus, the festival. Amazing food and merchandise, bagpipes, demonstrations, activities, and great sponsors. Presented by Purina Pro Plan. A weekend filled with value and family fun. Nestled in a redesigned Olympic venue. Soldier Hollow. 4 days of adventure, competition, animal and bird demos, plus much more. Something for everyone. The Soldier Hollow Classic Sheepdog Championship and Festival. Presented by Purina Pro Plan. Nutrition that performs. Powder River. Exclusive livestock and canine equipment sponsor. IFA Country Stores. Helping to grow the things you love. Visit SoldierHollowClassic.com. SoldierHollowClassic.com.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or ConsumerCellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Are you struggling with pain in your feet, ankles, knees, hips, or lower back? At the Good Feet store, we recommend having high-quality support in all of your shoes. Our personalized arch support system has helped countless people find relief, like Karen. Here is her Good Feet story.
After I decided my pain was too much, and my doctor actually suggested that I do visit the Good Feet store. Pretty amazing when they put the arch supports in your shoe and you walk around and you realize there's not pain and you think, how can this arch support in my shoe make my back pain go away? But it works. And how can it make my knee pain go away? It was incredible.
Come to the Good Feet store today and see what we can do for you. Good Feet arch supports are in stock and available in over 300 different styles and sizes.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Stop in today at the Good Feet store.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
11:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. BYU introduced their new athletic director, Brian Santiago, today, and he says his main goal is to help students and coaches rise to new heights.
And every one of us in the athletic department, every single person in the athletic department are united in that purpose. That's why we come to work every day, to help the student athletes and our coaches fly.
Santiago says he's a passionate guy and he doesn't apologize for that, but he says he hopes people will be able to get to know his more personal side as he takes on this new role. He says BYU Athletics has a lot of momentum right now and they're going to work hard to win at the highest levels. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The CDC is announcing a major decline in U.S. overdose deaths.
An estimated 80,000 people died from drug overdoses last year, 30,000 fewer than in 2023. The 27% drop, the largest one-year decline ever reported in records going back 45 years. Experts say a lot more research needs to be done into why the numbers are falling so rapidly, but they do think the availability of the OD-reversing naloxone and expanded addiction treatment are two big reasons.
That's ABC's Sherry Preston reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 129 points. The S&P is down 5 points. Coming up, scattered storms. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
I know we've been talking about getting your air conditioning unit tuned up. Well, now, because it's cold today, we're back to the heating unit. But don't worry, you've got Mountain Home Services.
That's right. Give them a call. You can come out and check things out in your HVAC system. But there's so much more they can do as well. If you're having an issue with some plumbing or you need some electrical work done, they're your go-to.
Yeah, I don't want to do the electrical myself. Let's get the professionals in for that. And all of this comes with this upfront pricing guarantee. What that means is they're going to come out to your house, give you a bid, and then, surprise, surprise, they're going to honor that bid.
Yeah, which means there's no hidden fees, 100% satisfaction guarantee, too.
Make sure you reach out to them, give them a call, and ask about the special offer for KSL listeners, 801-543-2222. So easy to remember. This is like the easiest number ever, 801-543-2222.
Or you can look them up online at mountainhomeservices.com.
Emergency traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Here's Ricky Meese.
Mother Nature's making a mess of the roadways, and right now drivers are not dealing with it very well. Multiple emergency traffic situations. The first one in Roy, northbound I-15. You have solid delays through Clearfield. Again, a lot of water on the roads. Slow your speeds. And then if you're on the southbound side of I-15 from North Salt Lake at the north interchange down to 6 North, heavy delays there. I-215's westbound emergency traffic due to a crash and hazmat situation southbound just before 7th North. That's backing traffic. Not quite back to Legacy. And then for Utah County drivers, the rain came through and now we have a crash on southbound I-15 blocking 2 left lanes of traffic at 2100 North. Break your routine and get into adventure in Cedar City, Bryan Head. Connected to nature, Cedar City makes spring the best break ever. Shopping, dining, and recreation galore. Break up your adventure. Visit cedarcity.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Scattered rainstorms and thunder today. The rain continues tomorrow with temperatures warming to the 70s on Saturday. Right now it is rainy and 45 degrees. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
I think we talked, was it yesterday, Dave, or the day before, about the Trump administration, the plan to accept a luxury jet from Qatar as a potential Air Force One replacement. And you and I were talking about it in a slightly different vein than we're going to talk about it now. We were talking to KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas about the ethics of this. And he brought up concerns that it conflicts with the Constitution to accept a gift of this size, if it is indeed, I guess, considered a gift. But today we're going to talk about what I think is also super important in this, and like what kind of security issues does this bring up for an American president?
It's very, very strange, just number one, because Air Force One, I mean, this is the most famous plane in the history of planes. I mean, you don't know the name of Kitty Hawk's plane, do you? It was the plane at Kitty Hawk. I don't know what that plane was called. But Air Force One, it's old. 1990. They've been flying around this 747 or whatever 7 it is. But they've been trying to replace this for years. Boeing is currently building a brand new Air Force One. And it is delay after delay after delay, cost overrun after cost overrun. They estimate now that it's going to cost somewhere around $4 billion for the new Air Force One to be completed. So enter in, hey, we'll give you a new plane for free from the Qataris.
Yeah. I don't think it's been officially accepted yet. We're keeping an eye on that part of the story, but I want to bring in Ryan Vogel. He's the founding director of the Center for National Security Studies at Utah Valley University. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning.
You know, when this story hit, the first thing I thought of wasn't necessarily the money or the constitutionality of it, I thought about like security sweeps. How do we make sure that this plane is airtight for security? Bring us up to speed on your thoughts on this.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought as well. You commented about the age of the existing Air Force One, and it certainly is something that needs to be replaced. But it is still a state-of-the-art, sophisticated airplane with all the defense countermeasure systems, the sophisticated communication devices and systems that make it, a real asset and a real security measure for the President of the United States. The issue with this plane is from a security perspective, is really twofold. One is that we need to make sure that all of those kinds of systems are in place in this new plane. We don't know that yet. Even if the Qataris told us that, yes, we did put defense countermeasures in, we'd want to ensure that they were up to our level and things that we could control. And then the other issue is that from an intelligence perspective or a counterintelligence perspective, is the plane bugged? Is the plane, compromised in some way? And let me just give you one example of this. When I worked at the Pentagon, I took a trip to Saudi Arabia. At one point, they gave us a model ship, just like a one you'd see at a kind of a toy store or something, and as a gift to the Department of Defense, and we brought it back. And it took weeks for them to go through it, make sure, and this was just going to sit out in the halls, but this is something that they went through and made sure there were no bugs and that there were no, any kind of devices that would compromise the security from an intelligence standpoint of that device. Think about what that would mean for an airplane the size of the one we're talking about here.
That's such a great point. I mean, that's incredible. And I think all bets are off after I saw what happened back in September when Israel basically booby traps these pagers, gives them to Hezbollah, right. And all of a sudden these pagers are exploding. I mean, to the level of no thing is too small to be concerned about.
That's right. Well, and with the micro technologies that we're seeing used in devices in all different aspects, it's a real security problem. And then you have a government who is an ally of the United States, but they're also allied with hostile governments to the United States, and to ensure that the production of this plane was done in a way that would be secure from our perspective and from our standards is just something. What it would eventually lead to is taking the plane completely apart and putting it back together again, and that would come at great expense to the taxpayer. So I think the security perspective here is that you don't accept these kinds of things for these kinds of situations for the president of the United States to use, because we just don't have control over the situation like we do with our own equipment that we use.
We're speaking live right now with Ryan Vogel. He's the founding director of the Center for National Security Studies at Utah Valley University about this plane that is finding itself in the middle of some controversy, certainly back in Washington, D.C., and the Trump administration announcing plans to accept a luxury jet from Qatar as potential for, the Air Force One replacement. And the president of the United States never flies like Debbie D flies, right? I just fly for an hour and a half. I prefer not to talk to anybody, and often if I'm watching anything, in terms, it's on my cell phone if I'm allowed Wi-Fi on the plane. There are some really high-level conversations, I'm sure, that go on Air Force One. It is essentially the Oval Office in the sky. And that's where I'm like, you'd have to. I guess the sweep, if you compared it to the sweep that went on that tiny model of a ship that you brought back from Saudi Arabia, it could take months to sweep something like that.
Yeah, and it really would mean dismantling and reassembling the thing, and that's no small task, and it would also have to be done to ensure that the right systems are in place, defensive systems and intelligence protection systems. So it would be like reconstructing the entire airplane over again. And that kind of mitigates against the potential savings of having the gift in the first place.
Ryan Vogel, thank you so much for joining us, founding director of the Center for National Security Studies at Utah Valley University.
I also think how many conversations, like what are the angles of the conversations that are held while the president's flying, probably defense-type conversations, military conversations, what the next move is.
Signal chats.
Straight ahead. I drove home the other day, and I couldn't even see the Ochre Mountains. There was just this intense layer of dust. I think it was just a full-on dust storm, and I thought it was bad out in South Jordan, where apparently Tooele takes the cake. KSL meteorologist Kevin Eubank on the line next to talk about this dust storm. And I'm curious, as time marches on, of course, it's a rainy day today. We don't have to worry about the dust flying. With the drought we've been going in and out of, where things stand with dust storms in the future. Kevin's up next.
Emergency traffic on KSL News Radio, brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Well, we have several spots where the rain has taken a toll and drivers have not responded well. Crashes along the freeways on northbound I-15. We had an accident in the Roy area. That's being cleared and more lanes are open, but we still have residual delays back to Hill Air Force Base. Southbound I-215's West Belt. A crash involving a jackknife tractor trailer, and this is a car hauler blocking multiple lanes of travel. This is right as you're approaching 7th North, backing traffic almost to the Legacy switch-off. We are actually seeing speeds improve southbound I-15 between the North Interchange and 6 North, but in Utah County, a crash on southbound I-15, 2100 North Lehigh. They've opened up a left lane of travel, but we still have delays back to SR 92 Temp Highway. Wasatch Front businesses and property managers. GoPave Utah provides all asphalt repairs for your parking. For patching and paving along the Wasatch Front, contact GoPave Utah. GoPave Utah, GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Recognized with numerous accolades for exceptional service to both customers and employees, U.S. Bank is dedicated to helping individuals across the United States manage their finances, investments, and everyday banking needs. West Regional Executive Brittany Westover joins us with more.
U.S. Bank serves customers and companies around the world and has been right here in Utah for the last 30 years.
We're not just a bank. We're a part of the community, committed to building meaningful, long-term relationships. Hundreds of us live, work, and volunteer in the area. We support local businesses. We're invested in helping Utah grow and succeed. I think our clients see that. They often talk about their high level of trust in us and how secure they feel having U.S. Bank as their financial partner. We were recently named one of the world's most ethical companies and Fortune's most admired superregional bank. We work to earn those distinctions every day. Whether you need a personal checking account, financing to expand your business, or advice on managing an investment portfolio, we're ready to help. To learn more, please visit usbank.com and click on About Us.
U.S. Bank is all about offering great service and making a real impact here in Utah. From their wide range of financial services to their active role in the community, they continue to make a meaningful difference. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Get better business banking at Mountain America Credit Union. Yes, the credit union. We offer all the financial products and services businesses need, like SBA loans, commercial real estate, cash management, and credit cards. Plus, at Mountain America, you'll enjoy thoughtful professional guidance. There's a reason we're the #1 business banking solution. See for yourself at macu.com/business. Insured by NCUA. Loans on approved credit. Membership required based on eligibility.
Dave and Dujanovic.
I know it's raining outside right now, but it was just like Monday that I looked at the ochres and I couldn't see them because of all the dust. So clearly a dry spell created what I called a dust storm. Now, having grown up in Phoenix, you think I'd be accustomed to dust storms. I am not. I hate them. I think they can be as horrible as whiteout conditions when it comes to driving in snow. And taking myself back just a few years when I was driving across Kansas, I got slapped with a dust storm in the middle of that drive. I had to pull over. Could not see in front of me at all. So while I think it was pretty dicey out in South Jordan, apparently it was nothing compared to what was going on in Tooele County.
I feel a little left out because I have not experienced any of this. We had a little bit of wind, but nothing in Syracuse that would be considered a dust storm.
Yeah, it was like this thin veil of dust, and then I noticed it started to get thicker and thicker the longer it went on in the day. And I think I got home about 3 o'clock that afternoon. But at any rate, let's get Kevin Eubank, KSL meteorologist. Hi, Kev. Why don't you just introduce yourself? Apparently, I've reached the end of my 3 hours here, and I can't talk anymore.
Well, how are you two?
Good. So good to talk to you. I haven't chatted with you in quite a while. KSL meteorologist Kevin Eubank on the line with us. What about that dust storm?
So what's interesting is we live in a desert, number one, and the big dust storms that we've seen of late have come because of obviously wind. We've had really strong gusts, 50, 60, even 70 mile an hour wind gusts. But I think sometimes we forget, Debbie, out in Phoenix, right? You've got the desert all around you.
I know.
Well,
right.
We do too. If you go west, we have the desert. If you go south, we have the desert. You go north, we've got big open plains up into Idaho. It's amazing how many open areas are around this little Wasatch Front metro. We also have the largest open pit in the world mining copper just a couple miles to the west of us. We have the largest salt flats in the United States and rivals the world just to the west of us. So we have a lot of places that can contribute dust and dirt very readily to strong wind events. And so out in Tooele County, what was happening was it was salt. You've got a very dry spring, and generally the salt flats with just a little bit of rain can really turn into almost an ocean, right? Little 2, 3, 4 inches of water all across the salt flats. Well, we haven't had that this year. So all of a sudden the salt flats are exposed, and the lake bed is very, very exposed right now because of the historic low on the Great Salt Lake. So a lot of contributing factors to why we're getting dust, salt, and other debris out in the air in these kind of wind events.
I do wonder how far, and I'm sure you have this answer, is how far this dust travels. I think when we see some of the smoke that comes in and we hear, oh, yeah, this is coming in from, 3 states away, how far is the dust traveling in these storms?
Yeah, that's a good question. Miles and miles and miles. And two reasons. Number one, dust, the particle itself, is heavier than, say, smoke. So it tends to find its way down to the ground a lot quicker than smoke does. And so it won't travel as far. But you're still easily getting 20, 30, 40 miles worth of travel on that dust and salt. And all the while, it's coating your car, it's coating your patio furniture, it's coating everything along the way as that dust and salt finally distills back to the surface. So it definitely travels quickly. Debbie, I'll give you an example. That day when we had all that dust, it was amazing. That evening we had a front go through.
Right.
And literally within hours, dust was down, valley was clear, you could see all the way across. And dust goes up quick and down quick, or smoke seems to linger on and on and on and on. So it is a little different, but it does travel far, Dave.
So I'll just throw this at you, Kev. Growing up in Phoenix, we had a ton of dust storms. Moving to Utah, I noticed we don't have a ton of dust storms. But I do feel like the last couple of years, I've sensed there's more of them rolling our way. They're not always as thick as what I remember growing up, but are we seeing more of them, or we anticipate more of them because of what we're experiencing with the Great Salt Lake?
Yeah, super easy correlation between the frequency and intensity of dust storms and our precipitation. When we go through dry cycles, drought cycles, extra low water year cycles, we get more dust storms because we've got more open dust and ground exposed, and that dust is easier picked up in the wind. Another big factor for us is the mountains. So that tends to stop those big haboob storms that Phoenix get, right? Those big, huge dust storms. We don't have those here. But what happens is when we get dry years and we start to lose the levels of our lakes and open things up, it's really easy to get these kinds of dust storms, salt storms, and we've seen them of late. Likely we'll continue to see them this year and into many more years until we can flip that water pattern and get us back with more coverage on the Great Salt Lake and wetter conditions in the soil so that it actually retains that soil on the ground versus letting it go up into the air.
Okay, final question. Got to ask you about what's going on today with the rain. What are we looking at?
You're welcome. That's what we're looking at, Dave. You don't even need to say thanks. I know you don't own your home anymore, but you still pay CAMS for all that water that gets used. No, a really nice storm for us. 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch, really common in the valleys, 1/4 to 1/2 inch north of Salt Lake City, a lot less into southern Utah. Snow in the Uintas, even a little bit of snow up in the Wasatch Mountains today. So this was a really nice spring storm, and we've got a couple more like it lining up. So we'll see a little bit more tomorrow morning. Then it's gone for a day, but then it's right back into Friday, Saturday to Sunday. We've got more storms coming. So a nice little spring pattern.
Kev, you buried the lead. It's only 46 degrees out. How come you didn't say that?
You're welcome. Again, I know how much you love
46 degrees, my friend. I'm glad I grabbed 50s. A sweater on my way out of the door today. It's so chilly.
I know. It's a perfect day to just stay inside, get a little bowl of soup, and soak in the last little bit of spring.
Are you inviting Dave and I over for lunch?
Lunch at Kev's house.
What? You got 6 minutes. I'll see you at noon.
Debbie's got a heavy foot. We might make it. We might make it, Kevin.
That's not a true statement. Kevin, always fun to talk to you. KSL meteorologist Kevin Eubank. You can catch him here basically like every single day on KSL News Radio and, of course, as always, on KSL 5 TV.
I don't know why I didn't think and put this together that dust, there's a lot of salt in it. Of course there is. It makes a ton of sense, but I guess I've never really thought of it that way. All that dust, obviously with the salt flats plays a huge role to it.
Well, when you're not trying to drive through it because you are tucked away in your sweet little townhome up in Syracuse, you don't have to pay attention to it. But if you're one of those folks living in Tooele, man, good luck getting that stuff off your car. Maria's up next. It's, of course, Midday with Maria. She'll take you through 3 o'clock today, and then Jeff will jump on the microphone. But here's one of the top stories that she's looking into. International college students in Utah had their legal statuses revoked not too long ago without notice, are getting them back. Maria will explain.
The main character in every news story is a real person.
I want people who listen to Midday to listen to the show and think it is about them. They're hearing a story that touches them in some way.
The main character in every news story
is you.
Whether it is their pocketbook, whether it is their child's safety, people should hear something that is more thought-provoking.
Midday with Maria Chaleos. All new noon to 3 on KSL News Radio.